shots. And we've now come to the point of the show that Harmy and I have been so excited about and looking forward to. We're joined live from Mumbai by Black Caps captain Tom Latham, who said after New Zealand's historic series win, when they went 2-0 up, that he was speechless. So that doesn't bode well for this interview, because they've now won 3-0. They've swept India at home in the biggest upset, certainly of this century, and one of the biggest test upsets of all time. Their first win in New Zealand, having first tried in 1955. Tom, we've got Harmy and I've got so many questions for you. I promise you, like everybody's a Kiwi who loves Test cricket at the moment. It's just a glorious moment. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah. It's obviously starting to sink in a little bit more. Obviously, the magnitude of what's sort of occurred over the last, I guess, 24 hours, but also sort of the last 3 weeks. Yeah, it's been a special time for New Zealand cricket and a really special time for this group. And yeah, certainly proud of the guys and the efforts they've put in over the last couple of weeks.
Tom, you went into that series. A lot of talk about it. We had Craig McMillan on before, I think, the first test or after the first test, and talked about not winning in India since 1988, I think it was. When you go into that as a leader and as a captain, how do you, the plans that you put in place is one thing, you prepare and everything that goes. Is it a case of we've won 3-0, everything went perfectly? Or, I mean, what was the sort of mindset going into that series, and where your goal setting was at?
Yeah, I think from our point of view, it's not necessarily focusing on the wins or losses. For us, it's always been about trying to focus on improving, trying to adapt as best we can to these conditions. And I think coming over here this time, we wanted to fire a shot. We wanted to, I guess, play a positive brand of cricket. We know that India play a really positive brand of cricket, especially in these conditions. And we thought, why not try fire a few shots at them, and I certainly think we did that. From a batting point of view, we're probably a little bit more positive than what we have been in the past here. Sometimes on these surfaces, runs are more important than necessarily batting time, and I think we saw that through the nature of the scores of each game, where 300 wasn't, I think it was maybe passed once or twice in that first test, but other than that, no one got to 300. So it was about that. It was trying to put runs on the board. We were lucky we managed to fall on the right side of a couple of tosses, well, especially the first one, but also winning the second one. Second and third tosses are pretty important in these conditions, but in saying that, you've still got to put runs on the board. First innings runs are really important, and if you can do that, then it's about trying to apply as much pressure as you can with the ball, and that's what we spoke about. We spoke about their brand of cricket that they play, that they like to be attacking, and I think that suited the way our bowlers were able to bowl. We could have in outfields, we had catches around the bat, but also sweepers on the boundary, to sort of try stop boundaries, which is what this Indian team feed off. So again, we just spoke about trying to play our brand of cricket, keep things nice and simple, and fire a few shots. And I certainly think we've done that.
That was exactly the phrase you used before the series began, Tom. And I remember thinking at the time, that's a slightly different approach for New Zealand cricket team. There's always been a sort of, maybe not a reserved, but an emphasis on respect for the opposition. And I'm not saying that you didn't respect India, but that talk of firing shots fascinated me. And also, I just think every single one of your team can look back at this series and think that they didn't just chip in. I mean, we're accustomed to seeing teams with everybody chipping in, but I think everybody can look back and say, I made a match influencing, result shaping contribution at some point. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, and I guess that's the beauty of a team sport, is it's not going to be someone's day every day. It's about chipping in at different times, and the contributions in these conditions may look slightly different. From a batting point of view, it's not necessarily the hundreds or 150s. It's partnerships that we spoke about, and low scoring games, sometimes those little partnerships are really, really important. And I think that's the beauty of what we did with the batters. Everyone chipped in when they needed to. Guys stood up at different times, and I think you look as a whole over the 3 test matches, it wasn't just one guy. It was everyone that played a part. That played a significant contribution, and that's what you need in these conditions, is to keep those contributions flowing throughout a game. And obviously the guys were fantastic with the ball. We faced something slightly different that we weren't expecting in Bangalore, where we managed to, or obviously the seamers managed to do the job, and then obviously the last 2 wickets were wickets that we're probably more accustomed to in these conditions, and obviously Satner did a fantastic job with the ball in Pune, and obviously Ajaz here in Mumbai. He obviously loves bowling in these conditions here. So, but also not those two. Glenn Phillips, a guy that's reasonably new to bowling. Not long ago, he was a wicket keeper. So it's nice to have someone like that can bowl some handy off spin, and also, the role that he plays with the batter is also really important.
And Will Young.
Yeah, Youngie was fantastic. I think someone that's been in this squad for a long time. He has obviously waited a long time to get an opportunity. He's sort of played here and there, and I think for him coming to these conditions, I think he did play the last series here. But I think for him to do what he did in some really trying conditions, I think the innings that he played in Bangalore in the 4th innings was outstanding. I think the pressure that he was able to withstand initially and then put the pressure back on them was outstanding. I think just gives him the confidence, that in whatever conditions, whether it be the ball moving off the straight or from a spin point of view, spinning past the outside edge and bouncing at pace. He played fantastically well, and trusted his defence and also had some attacking option that he stuck to.
And Tom, you've all teams have sort of great players, and they come close to the end of their careers, and there's always a noise from outside. It's like, oh my word, who's going to replace X? I mean, it's the same in England. Who's going to replace Anderson and Broad when they went? Southey and Kane didn't play in this series. I mean, it's an even bigger win when you haven't got somebody like Kane Williamson. But I look at this series and say when we're covering it, I mean, you've got Kane Williamson, Tim Southey closer to the end of their careers, but you've got some talent there in Will O'Rourke and Rachin Ravindra, 2 talented players who I think obviously Rachin came of age during the World Cup, but was this the sort of breakthrough series that you wanted of Will O'Rourke, thinking this kid's international class now, and hopefully he kicks on from there?
Yeah, absolutely. Will's obviously a young guy who's hasn't played a lot of first-class cricket back home, but he's certainly hit the ground running in terms of his international career. I think the way he bowled back home last summer when he made his debut against South Africa, and he had the best figures for a debutant. So that's something to say about him. And I think he's pretty uncomfortable to face in the nets. That's for sure. A big, tall guy that can move the ball off the wicket, but also in the air. So having someone like him obviously played a massive part in Bangalore, but obviously didn't necessarily get the opportunities from a surface point of view in the last 2 games. But I think he showed in these conditions he can also be a threat. He bowled fantastically well in Sri Lanka only a sort of month or so ago. But guys like him, Rachin, some guys that are going to be superstars, that's for sure, and certainly lucky to have them on our side.
Tom, when Tim Southey stepped away from the captaincy, it was interpreted as a selfless gesture in order to avoid any selection conundrums, because he hadn't been perhaps in the best of form. And so, I mean, my question is, how do you feel about taking over as the full-time captain and starting with such a peak? Because some would say there's no way up from here.
It's a bit of a honeymoon phase at the moment, I think. It's obviously, I guess when you get given the opportunity to lead the side, it's a really special thing. I guess it's a slightly different situation where I'd done 9 test matches in the past, but had always been as I guess when Kane was either injured or missing. So I guess from my point of view, it was about trying to put my own spin on things as best as I could. I think we do a lot of good things, or we've been doing a lot of great things in this test group for a long period of time, and it's trying to continue that as much as possible. And I guess this series was a perfect chance for us to come here and just give it our best, I guess. We didn't really have anything to lose. We just wanted to play our brand of cricket as much as we could, and certainly not go down without a fight. And obviously the belief that we had from that first test match, I think, just flowed on into the next one, and then into the next one. So yeah, certainly, yeah, obviously really proud of the group from my point of view, but yeah, also just want to keep trying to push this team forward as much as possible. And we always talk about trying to improve each day, and that's something I want to keep continuing, is trying to improve. We've also got a test series coming up and in a couple of weeks' time, where conditions are going to be completely different. So yeah, it's just trying to improve as much as we can, and adapt as much as we can, and try to have a bit of fun doing it.
A bit of fun doing it. How much fun are you? Oh, how excited are you looking forward to coming against Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum, the England side? You know Ben Stokes quite well from obviously your time in your early part of your career back in Durham, with I think you and Stokes, you were close to the academy at the time. This is a different challenge. India is one thing in India, the pressure that comes with it, but I think captaining against this England team when they come hard at you, I mean, how much are you looking forward to that? Because it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, another exciting challenge and another exciting opportunity for this group. We're lucky enough that we played them only a couple of years ago, where it was obviously a famous test match in terms of we managed to win by one run, and it was a 1-1 series draw. So we know what England are going to come with. We've seen the way that they've been playing over the last couple of years, and the free flowing nature of the way that they're approaching their cricket is exciting. It's putting bums on seats around the world, and it's a really exciting brand to watch. So it might be slightly different coming up against it, but we've obviously had that experience a couple of years ago around how they like to approach it in these conditions. Obviously Bears being a Kiwi, obviously knowing these conditions really well. I'm sure he'll have a lot of ideas around how they want to approach things, but I certainly think we have a fair idea around how they're going to play. They're going to be attacking. They're going to want to take the game on, and that will certainly be no different to a couple of years ago. So really, really exciting challenge again in a couple of weeks' time.
First test match in Christchurch, where you grew up. I know that New Zealanders have a tendency not to celebrate sufficiently their sporting achievements. So I can't imagine there being a ticker tape parade in Christchurch. I shouldn't even think they'll get the trumpets out. It'll just be well done, Tom. Yeah, very good. But it's been a golden time for the nearly New Zealand cricket team, with the White Ferns winning the World Cup, and now this truly extraordinary achievement. First time you've actually won 3 tests in a series.
You also forgot the All Blacks beating England the other day.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's been a great sort of month for New Zealand cricket. The girls obviously winning the World Cup was fantastic. So yeah, it's been a really nice time. An achievement that I'm sure will sink in for the girls, but also for us. I think probably once we get home and probably once we're a little bit older, the magnitude of what we've been able to achieve over here. And I think it's 69 years a New Zealand team's been coming here, and to get the first series win is something really special. And the group's certainly really proud of what they've been able to achieve over here.
And Tom, just finally from me, did you get a chance to reflect on it yourself? Because as a captain, when you lose, it's all on you and the shoulder. When you win, it's all on your team, and everybody shouts nice things. When the door closed and it, behind you, and did it sink in to you as a new captain what you've just achieved, and how did you feel? How did you sort of celebrate inwardly? Because I mean, it is Manners keeps going about the achievement, but for a captain, there's a hell of a lot of pressure on your shoulders and decision making. But when the door closes and you're just by yourself, how did that really sink in? Like 2 nights ago, when you managed to get over the line.
Yeah, I probably haven't necessarily done that yet. As I said, I think when when we get home and got a little bit of time to reflect on what's we've been able to achieve, I think it will probably sink in a little bit more. But yeah, I think as Kiwis, as you said, Neil, we tend to maybe gloss over things, and I'd probably do that as well, and sort of more think from a team point of view in terms of what we've been able to achieve as a group. Yes, I'm captain, but it's been everyone's chipped in at different times. Playing group, support staff. It's been a whole sort of package in terms of what we've been able to achieve. But I think getting some messages from people back home is obviously really special, and I'm sure over the coming days when we do get home, be able to reflect with the family and sort of understand what sort of we've been able to achieve, which is really special.
And finally, for me, Tom, very quickly, you've achieved something that'll be spoken about, you and your team, in 100 years' time, which is an amazing thing. India won 18 consecutive test series at home, unbeaten for 12 years. Were they magnanimous? Did they congratulate you?
Yeah, they were fantastic. Obviously the leader of their group, a great leader who's obviously been fantastic for them for a long period of time, and they were obviously very gracious in defeat, which is great. And I think from their point of view, even though things didn't necessarily go the way that they wanted, it certainly doesn't make them a bad team overnight. And they've got an opportunity coming up in a couple of weeks' time as well to play a brand of cricket that they want to play. But I think the relationship that we have, the Black Caps, with the Indian side is really special. Obviously, the connections that guys have through playing in the IPL, I think brings the teams closer together. So no, they were really supportive, which was really nice.
Many congratulations. Enjoy the flight home. I hope you manage to get some bubbly in.
Thank you very much.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.